Buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving headfirst into China's auto industry.
Ooh.
We're going to be talking about record-breaking sales,
Right.
a global export surge, and of course, an EV revolution that is happening at warp speed.
Warp speed.
Exactly.
It's incredible.
We've got fresh data straight from the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers, CAM,
You got it.
released just last week. And trust me, this is not just about cars.
No.
This is about understanding the forces that are shaping the future
Of everything.
of transportation, global economy, everything.
It really is. What's so captivating is that China's auto industry isn't just growing, it's setting the pace globally.
Yeah.
And this isn't just something to observe, it's going to have ripple effects on all of us.
So let's unpack it. The
Okay.
headline is that China produced and sold over 31 million vehicles in 2024.
Wow.
That's not just a big number, it's their second year in a row setting a new record.
Back to back.
To put it into perspective, we're talking 31.282 million vehicles produced, 31.436 million sold,
Wow.
representing year-on-year increases of 3.7% and 4.5% respectively.
Those are really impressive numbers, especially when you consider that China has been the world's largest auto producer and seller for 16 years running.
Yeah.
It's really remarkable, such sustained growth and market dominance.
Yeah, and this dominance isn't just happening organically.
Right.
Xi'an's Deputy Secretary General Chen Shua specifically pointed to the impact of government policies
Yes,
in driving this success.
for sure.
And one of the key initiatives that he highlighted was the Cash for Clunkers program.
Yes. Incentivizing people to trade in their older, less fuel-efficient vehicles for newer model.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
And that, along with some other local initiatives, acted as a catalyst to boost consumer demand.
They really created a perfect storm for automotive growth.
But here's where things get even more interesting.
Okay.
They're not just making all these cars for themselves. They exported 5.859 million vehicles in 2024. That's almost a 20% increase year on year. And it's cementing their position as the world's top auto exporter.
Yeah, this export boom has really significant implications for the global automotive landscape. Think about it. Chinese automakers are now offering a diverse range of vehicles at various price points, so it's providing more choices for consumers worldwide.
Right?
And this is putting pressure on established players to innovate and adapt to this new competitive environment.
And Chen Shua highlighted the, quote, stable development of the Chinese auto industry's internationalization efforts.
Clearly a strategic plan for global expansion.
But what really has me intrigued is the just phenomenal growth of their electric vehicle market, the NEVs.
Yes, the EV revolution, it's experiencing absolutely explosive growth, outpacing any other segment of the automotive industry.
They produced and sold almost 13 million NEVs in 2024.
Get out.
12.888 million produced, 12.866 million sold to be exact.
That's incredible.
And these numbers represent a year-on-year increase of 34.4% and 35.5% respectively.
Those numbers are mind-boggling. What's even more astonishing is that NEVs now represent almost 41% of all new car sales in China.
Wow.
They've gone from a niche market to a mainstream force in just a few years.
And think about this. It took a decade for their NEV market to reach 1 million annual sales.
Right.
Then, in the span of just 2 years, they went from 5 million sales in 2022 to over 12 million in 2024.
That's incredible. What do you think contributed to this rapid shift?
That's an amazing acceleration. What contributed to that?
Well, it's really a combination of factors, government policies, a diverse range of EV models, lower prices compared to traditional vehicles, and of course the improving charging infrastructure.
Yeah.
All have played a role in making EVs more appealing and accessible.
It's not just one magic bullet.
No,
It's a whole ecosystem that's been carefully cultivated.
absolutely.
And the results speak for themselves. 40% of the market is now NEVs.
Huge milestone.
That's huge and a clear indication that consumer preferences are really shifting. But you know what else is really fascinating? The rise of high-end Chinese NEV brands like AIT's Wenji.
Yes, they are producing some very impressive electric SUVs that are giving these established luxury brands a run for their money.
Absolutely.
They're really stepping up their game.
And Chen Shua even shared some data points about NEV penetration across different vehicle segments.
Okay.
NEVs have accounted for over 50% of all passenger vehicles sold in China for 7 consecutive months.
Wow.
And for commercial vehicles, that number is over 20% for 5 straight months.
It's pretty significant market share. They're electrifying everything from personal cars to buses and delivery vans.
It seems like it.
Seems like it.
They're electrifying everything.
Absolutely, and this aggressive push toward electrification is having a profound impact on the entire industry.
Okay, so we've covered the incredible growth of their auto industry overall and the remarkable success with EVs.
Right.
But what does the future hold?
Right.
Is this growth sustainable?
Well, according to AM, the outlook is very positive. They're predicting continued growth with an estimated 32.9 million vehicle sales in 2025.
Wow. So even more cars on the road. What about NEV specifically?
Well, CENIPAM estimates that NEV sales will reach a staggering 16 million in 2025.
Wow.
That means continued rapid expansion of the electric vehicle market.
Wow.
Chen Chua even mentioned that the effects of what he called 2 new policies will further unlock market potential. He didn't go into specifics.
Interesting.
But it sounds like they're not letting up on their support for the EV sector.
It's definitely an exciting time to be watching the Chinese auto industry.
It is.
They're setting the pace for the rest of the world, especially in the EV space.
Absolutely. What we're witnessing is a pivotal moment in automotive history. It's a story of innovation, ambition, and a clear vision for the future of mobility.
And like with any rapid growth, there are potential challenges on the horizon.
Oh, for sure.
For instance, the ongoing global chip shortage could impact production capability.
Yes.
And shifting geopolitical dynamics could also create uncertainty in the market.
Those are very valid concerns. However, even with those challenges, it's hard to deny the sheer momentum of China's auto industry. They're a force to be reckoned with, and their influence on the global automotive landscape is only going to grow in the years to come.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into China's automotive boom. We've seen their impressive growth in overall vehicle production and sales, their dominance in the global export market, and their success in driving the adoption of electric vehicles. But we're not done yet.
No, we're not.
We're just getting started.
You're just getting started. Welcome back to our deep dive into China's automotive scene.
Those record-breaking sales figures and that EV boom we talked about.
Yeah.
Still thinking about it. The sheer scale of it all.
It's incredible, and it's not just about numbers, though, you know? This automotive surge in China signifies a potential turning point, not just for China, but for the future of transportation itself.
Okay, so beyond the headlines, what are the broader implications of all this?
Well, for starters, China's rise as a global automotive powerhouse is reshaping the world's economic landscape.
Okay.
You know, their massive export growth, as we discussed, it's shifting trade patterns and intensifying competition on a global scale.
Yeah, it's fascinating how a shift in one industry can trigger a chain reaction across the world.
Absolutely.
Like we talked about those traditional auto giants, US, Japan, Germany.
Right.
They're now facing much stiffer competition from Chinese brands.
They are, and what's really interesting is that this competition isn't just about price anymore.
Right.
It's pushing everyone to innovate and, up their game.
Right.
Chinese automakers are investing heavily in research and development, particularly in cutting-edge areas like EV technology and autonomous driving.
Okay.
This is forcing the entire industry to move faster, which ultimately benefits consumers worldwide with better and more affordable vehicles.
So it's like a rising tide lifts all boats. More competition leads to more innovation, which means better cars for everyone.
In many ways, yes, but we need to consider the potential downsides of this rapid growth as well.
Right.
There are environmental implications that can't be ignored.
Right, even if they are electric.
Right.
Cars still require a lot of resources to manufacture.
Exactly. And China's reliance on coal for such a large portion of its electricity generation adds another layer of complexity to the environmental equation.
Okay.
Which means that even electric vehicles produced and driven in China have a carbon footprint that needs to be addressed.
So it's not a perfect solution.
No, it's not.
It sounds like we need to look at the bigger picture and consider things like battery production, recycling.
Right.
Those batteries don't just magically appear. And what happens to them at the end of their cycle?
Those are really crucial points. The materials needed for EV batteries are often mined in environmentally sensitive areas. And figuring out how to recycle those batteries safely and efficiently is another challenge that we need to tackle head on. It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
So it's kind of a mixed bag.
It is.
On the one hand, they are driving innovation and making electric vehicles more accessible.
Right.
But on the other hand, we have these concerns about resource consumption, environmental impact, of all this growth.
Absolutely. It's crucial to acknowledge both the positive and the challenging aspects of this automotive boom.
For sure.
But I think it's important to note that China is also investing heavily in renewable energy sources like solar and wind power.
Okay.
They're also working on developing more sustainable manufacturing processes.
That's encouraging to hear.
It is.
So it seems like they are trying to balance their ambitious growth with a commitment to a more sustainable future.
That's the direction they seem to be heading in, and their long-term vision isn't just about building cars.
Right.
It's about creating this entire ecosystem around electric mobility.
What does that mean?
Well, they're investing in the necessary infrastructure, like a vast network of charging stations to support this growing number of EVs. They're heavily involved in advancing battery technology to improve range and performance, and they're even incorporating smart city solutions to seamlessly integrate electric vehicles into the urban landscape.
So it's like they're trying to build a future where electric vehicles are no longer the exception but the norm.
Exactly, and that vision is attracting significant attention and investment from around the globe.
It makes sense. A system like that could be a game changer for how we think about transportation.
Absolutely.
But with all this talk about, the future of mobility and China's role in shaping it, what does this actually mean for the average person? What's the takeaway for our listeners?
I think the main takeaway is that China's automotive boom is far more than just an economic story.
Okay.
It's a story about innovation, sustainability, and the future of transportation. It's a story that's going to impact all of us in the years to come.
So whether we're talking about the cars we drive, the air we breathe, or the global economy, what happens in China's auto industry is something we all need to pay attention to.
We do.
It's a story that's still being written.
That's an excellent way to put it. We are at a pivotal moment in automotive history. And China is undeniably at the forefront of this transformation. There are both exciting opportunities and complex challenges that come with this shift, and it's a story that will continue to unfold in the years to come.
Okay, so we've explored the remarkable growth of China's automotive industry and how it's reshaping the global landscape.
Yeah.
We've talked about the environmental considerations and the exciting innovations happening.
Right.
But there's one more fascinating aspect to this story that we need to delve into.
And that is?
The rise of Chinese car brands on the global stage.
Yes.
Will these brands become household names worldwide? Will they challenge the established giants of the auto industry?
Those are the questions we'll be exploring in part 3 of our deep dive. Stay with us as we shift gears and take a closer look at the brands that are driving China's automotive revolution.
All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We've really been taking a close look at China's auto industry, haven't we?
We have.
We've looked at their production, their exports, the EV revolution that's changing the game. And now I think we should zoom in on a trend that has really caught my eye.
All right.
The rise of Chinese car brands globally.
It's a fascinating story, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
For decades, we've had, this established order in the auto world.
Right.
US, Europe, Japan holding the reins.
Absolutely.
And now we have this new wave coming from China.
It's a new wave.
And they're not just dipping their toes in the water,
No.
nor making a splash.
They're making a splash, and they're not just content with being the value option anymore, are they?
No. They are going for the top.
They're aiming for the top.
They're competing on quality, technology, design.
They want to sit at the big table.
Absolutely. And they're doing it strategically. They're targeting key markets. They're playing to their strengths. And they're leveraging their agility to adapt to those changing consumer demands.
We talked about Wenji,
Yes, Wenji.
that high-end electric SUV brand. What else can you tell me about them and this broader trend?
Well, Wenji is a fantastic example of this shift.
Yeah.
They're not just competing on price.
Right.
Right. They're going head to head with these luxury brand style features performance.
Yeah.
And they're getting noticed. Sleek designs, cutting edge tech, premium driving experience.
Are they breaking into markets like Europe?
They are making inroads in Europe,
Wow.
which is a market notoriously loyal to its traditional luxury brands.
So that's saying something.
It is. It's like, a new tech startup challenging Silicon Valley.
Absolutely.
If they can win over European consumers, that's a serious indicator that they're becoming a force to be reckoned with.
A force to be reckoned with.
I mean, it speaks volumes.
And it's not just Wenji.
It's not just Wenji, no.
We're seeing brands like BYD, NIO, XPeng, they're going global as well.
All investing heavily in R&D, especially in the EV space.
Okay.
And they're rapidly closing that gap, sometimes even surpassing their foreign rivals in terms of technology and innovation.
So we're seeing a major shakeup of the global auto industry.
It's possible.
Will these brands become household names? Can they really challenge those established giants?
Well, it's certainly within the realm of possibility. The auto landscape is changing.
Yes.
And these Chinese brands are incredibly well positioned to capitalize on that.
It feels like a new era.
It does, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's a testament to how quickly things can change,
Yeah.
especially in an industry as dynamic as this one.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, what's the takeaway for our listeners? What should they be watching as this story continues to play out?
Keep your eye on China.
Keep our eyes on China.
They're not simply building cars, they're building the future of mobility. And the brands they're creating have the potential to fundamentally change how we think about transportation.
It's more than just an economic story.
It is. It's a technological, cultural, it's even geopolitical.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's going to touch all of our lives in some way.
It has been amazing exploring this automotive revolution. We've covered so much ground, from production to those EVs to these new brands. And I'm walking away with just a whole new perspective on the future of cars and transportation as a whole.
Absolutely, me too. And it's clear that China is a driving force in shaping that future.
It is.
And as we've discussed, there are both exciting opportunities and complex challenges tied into this whole story.
For sure.
It's going to be fascinating to watch how it all plays out.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. And until next time, keep your eyes on the road and your minds open to the possibilities of the future.